Michelle, can you just give me your name and what do you do?
Hi, I'm Michelle Zelsman, and I'm a real estate professional at Coldwell Banker in Alexandria, Virginia.
Super. And I think most people know what a real estate broker, a real estate agent does. So I don't think we have to necessarily do an education on that. How did you get into the business?
Well, I had been in marketing and advertising prior to that, pretty much throughout most of my career. I actually started out as a reporter, and then I was doing advertising marketing, and I actually was on the beach in Costa Rica, and I didn't want to come home. Well, and if you've been to the beach in Costa Rica, you understand why you don't want to come home. But I had to really take a hard look at why I didn't want to come home.
Yeah.
I mean, I was literally ready to just, call in and say, send my stuff down. I'm not coming back. And so one of the things that happens every night in Costa Rica is that as the sun goes down, everyone goes out to the beach and they watch the sun set. So I was out there and I said, I just got really quiet with myself and I said, why do I not want to go back to the States? And what I realized is I had just run the course of working a 9 to 5 job. And anybody who knows anything about real estate knows that this is not 9 to 5
That's right.
at all. And but there's a freedom that comes for me, a freedom that comes with having a little bit more control of my schedule, and also I had worked as a consultant for about 10 years when my son was young, so I was very familiar with working from home and sort of that consultant life. And in real estate it's a lot like a consultant life, because we are consulting with clients about a major a major financial decision they're making, and most importantly where they're going to be living. So in that moment in Costa Rica, when I just got really quiet and I asked myself the question, why do I not want to go home? It got really clear that I couldn't go back to that work.
Right.
So I went back home to the United States, and I went to back to work that Monday, and I sat in a meeting and I listened to. I had a new boss who was just starting, and I sat in that meeting for 3 hours with her, and all I heard in my head was Charlie Brown's teacher, wah 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 wah.
Right.
And I went back in my office and I said, what would if I were to quit? Now I'd already gotten my license, and I thought that I was going to be able to do both my full-time job and then work real estate kind of part-time. And again, one of the things that kind of surprises people is real estate is a full-time job.
Hmm.
You cannot do this part-time, not to be effective, in my opinion. This is in my opinion. And again, I said, what I said to myself, what would happen if I just quit and started doing real estate full time? And I just got this overwhelming sense of peace. And I left my office immediately. I was working downtown. I left my office immediately. I went to talk to my broker, and I said to him, "What if I, would I be able to make the same kind of money?" And he said, "Yes. Here are the things you have to do,
Hmm.
and there are some things that you have to do." And so I quit my job the next day,
Wow.
and I gave notice and started doing real estate full time, and it's been amazing. It's been far more than I ever thought it was going to
How
be.
long ago was this, Michelle?
So that was in March of 2014,
Mm,
I want to say. Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Wow. And you said that one of the things that surprises people, or might maybe surprise you, is that it's not a 9 to 5 job. What are some other things that have surprised you, or might surprise people about real estate, or about being a real estate
Um,
agent?
I think the thing that stands out to me the most is the connection with humanity
Mm,
is amazing, because you see people in some cases in their most vulnerable because they're trying to find a home.
right.
And let's face it, I mean, your home is your castle. And so trying to find that home, that castle where you're safe, where you're going to keep your family safe, where you're going to keep your belongings safe, where it's more than just how many bedrooms and bathrooms. Do you know? I mean, if it's bedrooms and bathrooms, you can find that anywhere.
Right.
But it's where am I going to live? And so helping people through that journey of understanding how important that is, and making sure that it's that your home is anchored in a place where you want to live, not necessarily where you work. And for some people, it's important. You know, they only want to be 30 minutes from where their office is. And we all know that's a little challenging
Right.
in Washington once the traffic is in place. And so, but to watch that human experience, and watch people go through that transformation of thinking they want this, but then realizing that really what they want is this over here,
Mm-hmm.
and just kind of watching that happen. And I'm always surprised and delighted, honestly, when people walk into that home and they say, oh, I don't want this, I don't want this, I don't want this, but I want this, this, and this. And then they end up in that house that has this, and this that was never on
Right.
their wish list. It's just amazing to watch that feeling. And I think people don't understand, unless you're in real estate, people don't understand that moment of, this is it.
Right.
This is phenomenal.
Wow. So,
Yeah.
and you've been running the business for, six some years. I'm guessing that you've developed, we were talking about some of your marketing community initiatives, like with the screen on the green type of approach. Um, are there any systems or processes or technologies? And again, this doesn't have to be technology. This just might be the way you do business. But are there any things where you're like, I think this approach or this system, it kind of makes me special. It kind of helps me serve my clients. Is there anything like that I just wanted to give you that opportunity to share something like that?
I mean, I think it's looking at humans as humans. Do you know? I
Yeah.
mean, when and that buying a home is a human experience. And if I look at it as a transaction, I'm extracting the human out of it.
Right.
This is a human being, um, who is looking for a place that where they feel comfortable. So helping them understand and feel their own comfort, that's that's key for me.
hmm and it was interesting. We were talking about the humanity of it, and I think like you're also at this pivotal. In addition to the house being a pivotal event, obviously, typically there's a reason they're buying the house, right? Or they're selling the house. It's a new baby, it's a marriage, it's a unfortunate event, it's a new job, it's whatever, it can be anything. And that must be really amazing to be at that moment with somebody making this huge decision while there's probably something else either very fresh in their background or coming up, you know?
Yep. Yeah. Sometimes some of the best ones are the people who are buying their very first home.
hmm
And the excitement that is around that very first home is pretty phenomenal. Yeah.
Wow. And so you live in the Belhaven area, New Alexandria area of Fort Hunt.
Yep. Yep.
So
Right off Fort Hunt Road.
what's that again?
Right off Fort Hunt Road.
So what is your favorite part, your favorite thing about the community? And this can be either general stuff or it can be, I love this one shop or I love this one, park or whatever. But just share some of your likes about the area you live.
Well, it's a kind of a little bit of an unfair question, simply because um, in anywhere I've moved in like the last 30 years has been in the same 3 mile
hmm
radius. And my family kind of jokes that I can't get out of this neighborhood, and I can't. And there's a reason I can't, because it's so phenomenal. Um, so I kind of started in Old Town, and then migrated down to Bellevue, to the apartments, and I rented an apartment there for a while, and then I made my way up the hill a little bit over to a townhouse, and then down into New Alexandria. And so yes, I've kind of stayed in the same area for since my son was in first grade is when we moved to the area, and he's now 35 years old. So it's
Wow.
been a while. And I mean, there's just the community offers so much. I mean, we've got the Parkway. how can I not talk about how great that parkway is? There's so many things you can do. You can picnic, you can fish, you can sail, you can run, walk, ride your bikes. I mean, when my son was little, we did all of that. You know, I would take him fishing out on the Potomac, and we would ride our bikes back and forth from, you know, down to Mount Vernon and then into DC. We would, you know, when he decided he wanted to learn how to rollerblade, it was all up along the parkway. You know, tons of birthday parties over in the park in Bellevue, you know, at Bellhaven. And I mean, we've done nature walks along there. It's just, it's such a great place to to experience and just sort of get out in nature.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, and it doesn't matter. I mean, if you want to just, if you want to take a drive and you just got to, I mean, like right now, you know, got to get out of my house. So let me take a drive. It's always, I find myself always driving up and down the parkway.
Absolutely.
And it doesn't matter if there are no leaves on the trees. It's as gorgeous as if it's in full bloom. It's always, and then, I mean, it's just always a great place. You know, the fact that we have so many cute little shops along the way, you know, like we've got Bellevue, and then we've got down in Holland Hall. And, you know, I mean, one of the other things that I really enjoy is there's a, I don't know if you're familiar with the coffee and cars that happen generally
Mm-hmm.
in the summer
Mm-hmm.
on Sunday mornings. And, you know, the guys with their old cars, well, we have a couple of old cars. And so we go out and show off those old cars and just kind of hang around
Right.
and chat, you know, chat cars with people, chat nothing with people,
Mm-hmm.
just go out and be with the community. It's a lot of fun. But the fact that we have those things around here. And the other thing that I love about this community is that it's so well established. I remember years ago, like during the height of the market in you know, 2005, 6, 7, 8, being at the rec center, and these little old ladies in the rec center saying, did you see how much Betty sold her house for? Do you know how much she paid for that house
Right.
back in 1965?
Right.
And I would just die laughing, and partly be in that space of, oh my God, you see how much money she made on
Right.
that house?
Right.
But it just really speaks to, I think it speaks to the community, and that people come to this community and they stay for a reason, and they stay because it feels like home. It it's comfortable, and people get to know one another. I mean, one of the things that I have been just tickled to death about just recently in these last couple of months is how much people are outside. And, you know, if you're doing yard work, hey man, the yard looks great. Oh, I love, hey, what are you planting? You know, and just, but and the thing I love about that is that while we're seeing it a little stronger right now, it's always been there.
Right.
You know, hey, how's it going? Hey, I see you. You know, just that sense of community is here.
Yeah. No, I agree completely. I had somebody once called it, you know, it's like Mayberry on the Potomac, you know.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
so okay, so we'll close this off with what is it's, you know, it's May right now, so the New Year's resolution is not as plugged in.
Not as relevant.
Yeah, it's not as relevant, but you know, we're about to have a fresh new start, right? So, what is your big project for 2020? Personal project, something that you're super excited about?
Whoosh. So it's interesting because I actually don't like to do New Year's resolutions. And the reason is because they kind of set me up for failure, because I never, you know, it's always the same. You know, I'm going to lose 50 pounds. Well, I'm going to, you know, I'm going to go hike somewhere,
Mm-hmm.
do something. And, you know, and I never end up doing it. I think though, the biggest thing for me right now has been just, I've been very, as I talk to my clients, I've been really taken by how many of them say to me, you know what, I am happier today than I have been in years.
Hmm.
And what I'm finding is that people are connecting with one another in ways that I mean, they're getting very creative to connect with one another, and they're doing it in ways that that they haven't done in years. And so I think for me, a project would be to find ways to continue that and help facilitate that for others,
Hmm.
so that others can find ways to connect with their loved ones. And I mean, people, I'm hearing people telling stories about how they're playing more games with one another. They're finding, one of my friends has been doing something that's really amazing. Every night at dinner time, they have a game. All right, so if we're going to play the decades, everybody has to come to dinner dressed in a certain in an outfit for a certain decade.
Uh-huh.
One night they said, all right, you have to pick someone in the family and you have to come dressed as that person
Oh,
in the
fun.
family. I mean, it's great stories. And so really helping people um, explore and continue to explore ways to connect with their loved ones that's for me a project to kind of focus in on.
Well, that's great, Michelle. Thanks so much for taking the time to chat today. And
No, thank
I
you.
look forward, like you, on helping people stay connected in the community.